3, 2, 1.
Hello everybody, my name's Joe from Chuck's, and this is my JANK journal story. Alright, so
tell me about it, man.
Middletown is a place very close to where I grew up, Cromwell. It was just the next town over, so my parents would take me there as a kid. It's a place very close to my heart, close to my childhood. It's where I live now, so it's close to my identity today as a 23-year-old. It's a place that has pretty much everything you could need. Great community, plenty of small businesses to give you what you need. Also plenty of small businesses to hire you if you're looking for work. And it's got a nice river. It's got a lot of trees to look at. It's got Wesleyan University if you ever want to walk around some fancy buildings. I'm young enough, I blend right in. I walk around that place. I'm happy that I live there. It's a good place. I walk around, I feel like I'm right at home.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Now, what are some of the specific locations that we went to on that day with Michaela that you would like to talk about? We went to Wild Bill's, we went to the campus bookstore, and then it was Memorial Day, so all the other places were pretty much closed, but we at least walked the main strip up and down, and it was actually pretty fun. It was a good time. Oh, we went to a coffee place as well. Yeah, I went to a coffee place.
Yeah.
So of those, if you want to talk about all of them, or if you want to talk about,
I will go down the list. You missed the first one, which is Harbor Park. And
That's right.
I spent a lot of time in Harbor Park when I was in high school and starting college, because when I was 18, I moved to an apartment complex in Middletown, but it was so close to Cromwell, you still had to drive to Main Street.
Gotcha.
So you'd have to park. But I don't want to pay for parking. So then when you go to Harbor Park, the parking there is free. But the thing is, it's on the other side of the highway on the river. And then, so what you have to do is walk all the way down away from the parking lot of the park, and then underneath this big stone tunnel, and then you come out the other side up these stairs, and then you look up, oh, there's the Main Street Market. And it's like a big indoor plaza, like a mini mall. And then that's your gateway, your entryway to Middletown. And that tunnel to me, next to the park under the street, that's run of the mill every day. But then I forget sometimes. I bring people who haven't been there before. It's wow, it's a tunnel. People think there's monsters in there.
Not even.
Yeah, but it's cool. That tunnel used to air NPR, classical music.
There used to be music in that tunnel.
24/7.
That is crazy.
I would be walking there at 2 a.m, midnight, and then you would just hear, and then it was spooky. It was big spooky. And there was graffiti,
That was actually surprising to me, the fact that there was barely any, if not any, graffiti in there.
Yeah, because if you noticed, all the walls and the ceiling and the floor were painted a nice blue.
Yes.
Yeah, but what you probably didn't notice, there was a railing up top, because there was this art walk of Middletown that happened a few years ago, and that railing was where they would hang, framed art.
Really?
Yeah, that they would have art hanging in that tunnel, and then throughout the whole Main Street, there'd be art everywhere. You'll walk into a shop, and then it's every place was a little gallery. I actually forgot about that until right now. I didn't witness it. I just heard about it from someone else, which was cool. So then once you cross that tunnel and you're up in Main Street, the place that I wanted to take you to that was closed was called Perk on Main. And I want to talk about Perk on Main because most of the times when I go to Main Street, that's what I'm there for. And it's a coffee place. You get breakfast there. During the pandemic, when everyone was closed and everyone had all these restrictions, Perk on Main was still a place you could go with your laptop and just eat. And granted, they had their protocols of their own, but if you didn't want to be stuck in your house on your laptop, Perk on Main was the place.
Sure.
Great coffee, great food. And I spent a lot of time there just sitting down, drinking coffee, just drawing people. Or if I have my sketchbook, I'll start journaling there.
Sure.
And you go there enough, and then you start to see familiar faces. There's a guy there named Fred, and what he does is he'll sit in that cafe and he'll sketch too, but he'll make these little satirical stick figure comics about current events.
Sure.
And they're really funny. One of them was a stick figure on a podium. It's organ inventory, everything must go. People were selling organs and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And he posts them on these cylindrical bulletins that they have all over the street.
I do know that. Yeah, we walked by one.
Yeah. So, well, when you come back to Main Street and it ain't closed on Memorial Day,
Sure.
you come to Perk on Main. And then we walked to the south side, I think. And then tons of restaurants, although... Oh, yeah, and then we went to the Clay Colo.
Yes.
That's the coffee place Jordan mentioned earlier.
Yes.
And it's a cool place because it's a volunteer run. So everyone there serving coffee, they just want to be there. And there's a drink there. If you ever want to like spoil yourself and have like too much sugar, it's called a Cosmic Cow. I want you to think of having a vanilla ice cream cone. Take the ice cream, take all that flavor, and make it a hot beverage. That's a Cosmic Cow.
That sounds really good.
And then Clay Colo, normally that's a place that has art hung up. A lot of artists in the community could just hang up their paintings and stuff like that. But when we went, the wall was empty because they were in between artists at the moment. Yeah, and then a lot of small musicians performed there. I had an illustration professor. He's a harmonica player, and he would play there. And I've seen fire twirlers like performing out there here and there. So after Clay Colo,
we went to the bookstore.
Yes, the Wesleyan bookstore.
Wesleyan bookstore.
Back in the day, that Wesleyan bookstore was also a cafe restaurant run by the wife of the basketball player. I think his name's Ken Allen.
Mm-hmm.
No. Ray Allen. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Ray Allen.
yeah. His wife ran the grown restaurant in that bookstore that used to be there. I don't know why it left. And one summer, I'm sitting in there working on a Japanese art history class.
Sure.
And so I'm sitting in the chair, minding my business. And then I hear this guy talking to my right with this young woman. And he's giving her a bunch of like life advice. And he gives her a quote that I remember to this day. He said, "God is going to give you a lot of things in life, but he's not going to give you your free throw." So then I put together some things, and I look him up, and I was like, this is like a real basketball player. He's sitting right next to me. What the fuck? What? And then before he left, because I was there longer than he was, he just spoke to one of the employees. He was like, "Hello there, sir. Give me 6 salmons so I can take them home." And then they just accept right away. 6 salmons just in a saran wrap. Here you go, boss.
They had this at the bookstore.
Yeah, this
So,
all went down at the bookstore.
So they just had salmon on deck.
Yeah,
Okay.
because not only is that the owner's husband, but that's also
Sure.
Ray Allen.
Exactly.
What are you gonna tell me? You don't have any salmon?
We don't have any salmon for you, sir. It's
No!
Like, no, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna
Yeah.
Make it. Okay, sure.
Good collection of manga there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I bought a few books, a few comic books.
It's important.
Yeah, every time I go in there, like in the nonfiction, I like to look at history or like maybe the life advice section. I don't know, it's just really easy to spend money in that place.
Sure.
You could say that in Main Street in general.
Mm-hmm.
One place I should have taken you to was the smoke shop, Smoke 911. We walked past it, I think it was closed. And I don't smoke, but they just have a bunch of these cool knickknacks and like incense burning things.
Yeah.
And they have this room in the back, and it's like dark, but like all the tapestry is like neon and glow in the dark.
I forget what it's called, but it's like blacklight stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the owner is like super duper friendly.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then we went all the way to the north end, and then we crossed the street, and then we found... I forgot the name of the tavern because I never go there. But I just walked by it, and I'm like, wow, that's so pretty.
Was that the one with the safe in front?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it has like all these stickers on it and like all these taps hanging out.
Yep.
And it's just so decorated. And on the side, and this is all over Middletown, there's like these murals painted on the brick walls for people to see.
Got a video you dabbing on one of those.
Yeah, and that's cool because I've been there so often. It's like, oh yeah, no, it's just murals. You don't think about it. But then, again, I bring people over and it's like, whoa, look at that.
Seriously, because you don't really see it a whole lot in places like South Windsor or whatever.
Yeah, so that's one of the things. Cause I was in Fairfield yesterday and like I was driving through Burlington.
Sure.
And it looks so postcard New England-y. Like I thought I'd run into like a witch or a patriot or something.
Sure.
And I'm like, man, Middletown ain't got this shit. But then I thought, no, Middletown has its own stuff.
That's good.
Yeah. So we saw that tavern, and then we walked back to the car, and then we went to Wild Bill's.
Wild Bill's.
Before I start telling you what Wild Bill's is, I should tell you what Wild Bill's was. Wild Bill was a guy who graduated from the University of Hartford as a business major in the 1980s.
Really?
Yeah. And then when he graduated, he figured, I want to start a novelty store. So when I grew up and found out about it, it was just loaded with everything from like it had some stuff from like the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, whole lot of 70s, 80s, nothing much beyond that. And it was just all kinds of manner of knickknacks and toys and DVDs and posters and records and cassette tapes and bobbleheads and baseball cards and just anything in that realm of like Americana. And it wasn't just the big shop where he had all that stuff. He had like a big sculpture yard with like these giant cars like positioned upside down like they were doing like flips. He had these giant wooden sculpture cubes. He had this big giant clown at the entrance that would like scare everyone. He had this big wooden construction. It was like a haunted house. But it was too dangerous to go in because there's always like a keep out thing.
Sure.
But it was just so cool from the outside. And he had all these stages like in this big field for like music events. He had this like other annex which was just like a big freaking arcade with like all these 80s arcade cabinets, and that was dark and glow in the dark. And next to that was another annex, was a whole ass bookstore with like newspapers from the fucking 1850s. Yeah. And whenever my friends and I were bored, like that was never. And he also had this big tower, and on the tower there's like this big pike, and on the pike was a giant clown head, and he had lights underneath it for when it was at night.
So you could see it.
When you were driving by.
You see a giant clown head on
Yeah.
the pike.
Yeah. And then one summer, I'm working as a dishwasher, and he dies. Not that my job has anything to do with his death, but I just remember having to work that night on the night where they had a celebration for him, and I heard things. They were setting pianos on fire. There were fireworks. There was music, and I should have been there.
A real last hurrah for Wild Bill.
Suitable only for Wild Bill.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Nothing less would have done. Anyway, so then years and years go by, and it's abandoned, but it's a shell of its former glory. It's not completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
The yard where he had all the sculptures and cars and stages, that is reduced to like 1% of its previous glory, and then it's just like nothing but a big old junkyard. And I don't want to go too much into detail what we saw there, but we went and we saw the junkyard, and I was remembering Wild Bill, and I was showing my friends who didn't know much about it the remnants of what once remained.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I remember driving by it once or twice, and I was like, what the fuck is going on in there? And it's kind of sad because I never went to stop by to see.
You would have
Yeah,
loved
I'm sure
it.
I would have lost my shit in there.
Oh.
I'm sure I would have lost
I have a story about Wild Bill.
Yeah, sure.
A little bit before he passed, I actually met him because my friend Chris and I were walking, just doing our normal Wild Bill thing, and then I saw a Rocky poster, and I'm all about Rocky.
Yeah, sure.
And this poster's still in my room, and he was working the counter, selling it to me. And that's when he told me he went to U-Heart. He was such a warm, friendly, old grandfatherly guy.
Really good dude?
Yeah.
Really good dude?
He was up there in years, so.
That makes sense.
But I'm glad I was blessed with the Wild Bill experience.
And I wish I was.
Yeah.
But,
And if we're talking about Middletown and the things I like about it,
yes.
I'd be remiss to not mention the Athenia Diner.
Oh, yes. That was a place that we went afterwards. That was the final stop, yes.
Because I've been a dishwasher for a while, and I have friends in Middletown that I went to high school with, and we've all graduated, but like around the time after we graduated, we started going to the Athenia Diner, and before the coronavirus, it was a 24-hour place. So I'd come home in the summer from washing dishes, and it'd be really late night, and my friend Craig would always be like, "Hey, Padilla, let's go to the diner." I'm like, word, let's go. So then it was me and Craig, and then all of our other friends started to come in, and like throughout all these years, it's just like a regular hangout spot.
Sure.
And recently talked to a client there to do some artwork. Recently brought my friend Chris there after we went to the Renaissance Fair, where I got this.
There. Cool blade.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And that's where we went after Wild Bill's. And as someone who's been there for the first time, from someone who always goes there, I'm curious what you thought of the place.
The Athenian Diner?
Yeah.
It was a really cool spot. It reminded me of like a little bit of times past, obviously, but you did not lie when you said that they had big portions. It seemed like it was made with a lot of love, upcut with a lot of love. It reminds me of a local diner that we actually have called the Vernon Diner, which I'm planning on doing a video on, which it's the same exact vibe. It reminds me of the same exact thing. It reminds me of a place that should be there for everyone. It reminds me of the classic diner that everyone kind of has, and it's nice to know that you and I have one in our hometown that kind of has the same vibe.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
The chicken parm was pretty good. It was surprising, but it was pretty good.
The Athena Diner is like a place pretty close to me.
Yeah.
A lot of warm memories and emotions attached to it, and one of those things that if anything were gonna happen to it, like I'd fight to keep it in the community. Yeah.
And those are the places that we want to kind of document on this Jank journal. I'm writing a grant for it actually, and I want it to take place over the course of a year. Let's see what kind of happens over the course of a year.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Well, I think you've heard enough from me about Middletown.
I think so.
Yeah. Not much else to say, honestly.
That's all right. Well, Joe, if we ever go back to Middletown, I know that you are the guy to go to.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And, I'm sure that there's going to be a few more spots that either open up or a few more spots that we have to check out more in depth.
Yeah, we got a new bar. The Perk on Main's going to be open.
Most definitely. We have to check
I
that
can show
out.
you Wesleyan.
Sure.
Yeah.
That'd be
And,
awesome.
I've never been to Wadsworth Falls.
That would be interesting. That would be an interesting spot.
Yeah.
Because it's not only like food and stuff. It can be like nature spots as well.
Yeah. The Mattabasset Trail I can take you to.
Sure.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time we should wrap this up. This has been Joe's Jank Journal from Chuckst, wishing you a very fine day.